6 years of President Bio's government, we're going to evaluate the youth sector. The president, in his 2023 to 2028 manifesto commitment, says his government will create 500,000 jobs for young people in 5 years through a targeted presidential initiative on job creation for the youth. How the Ministry of Youth Affairs plans to support the president's agenda in creating more job opportunities for young people, amongst other things, is what we're going to be discussing in this segment. And in the studio, we have Mohamed Orman Bangura, Minister of Youth Affairs. We're also expecting Ibrahim Kamara, youth activist. Good morning.
Good morning, AIV. Good morning, Sierra Leoneans.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us this morning.
You're welcome.
Now, that's quite a big, that's quite a huge ambition by the president, creating 500,000 jobs for young people. And the most strategic ministry in, well, making that dream a reality would be your ministry, the Ministry of Youth Affairs. Since the president's campaign trail and your reappointment as Minister of Youth Affairs, what have you been doing to lead the president's vision in that direction?
Yeah, thank you very much, Fabian and Sierra Leoneans. Let me start by congratulating His Excellency, the President, for assuming the highest decision-making office in the world. The Security Council. I'm very proud to be part of this historic moment. I'm very proud to be part of this generation of leaders to assume that office. Congratulations, His Excellency. Congratulations to every Sierra Leoneans. Our manifesto was very deliberate, that, to be specific, by His Excellency to say we want to create 500,000 jobs. Among these 500,000 jobs, you have 350,000 that will be going for the private sector and 150,000 that will be hitting the public sector. As it is now, the minister has been doing very well, building on the gains from the past 5 years, and now we have so many structures, so many things that we put in place. And like I always say, for the past 5 years, I've been saying that we've done a lot as a nation, but what has been the missing element, people that needs to be accountable. Most times people ask for government to be accountable, but they also forget that we have partners. If we are doing well as a government, our partners should also do well. If the partners are saying we are not doing well for young people, then they also should hold themselves responsible. Because when you talk about partnership, it's a teamwork. So it's as a result of that, to date, we are building one of the most sophisticated platforms where every partners, every private sector, every ministry, line ministry, agencies, to have a one-stop shop for every youth intervention. You follow the news, we've done the contracts, we've awarded the World Bank has awarded the contract, and we've done 3 strategic meetings, and one of which has to do the steering committee, which is a high decision-making body. In the next couple of months, the platform will be up, where it will be like a clock, tick clock, to ensure that the 500,000 job should be calmed down. You see which area has been making progress, how many from the private sector, which institution, which agency has empowered on XYZ. So that's the one-stop shop we are going after. And it's also the first time for us to have a status of youth report. Fabian and Sierra Leoneans, you agree with me, to date, nobody has got a clear picture. Somebody, remember the other day we were here talking about drugs and substance abuse, I said I don't have data. And as a government that believes in data, that believes in technology, that believes in taking informed decision based on data, it's good for us to know what is it about. So we have a status of youth report research going on, and I'm pleased to inform you and Sierra Leoneans that we have Ghana Institute of Research being the head of the research, and have IGR leading the local consortium. They will be recruiting about 200 enumerators going right across the country to have a clear picture of our young people. They've sent the inception report that has to do with about 70 questions. And this is the first time, by the way, I think AYV was there during the steering committee meeting, to have 26 development partners and over 18 ministers to sit in a room to validate the inception report. And again, we are doing Mano River Union Youth Connect in the next couple of months. It will be October. I'm also pleased I got information yesterday.
Pardon me for interrupting you. Would continue on the trend of the other things you're doing, but still on the 500,000 jobs. You've said 350 of those would come from the private sector, which leaves 150,000 with the government squarely on your shoulders as a ministry. What are the areas?
As a government.
Yeah, well, through your ministry.
Yeah.
What are the areas of these employment opportunities of 150,000?
Yeah. Even as I speak, to date, we've, like, just on FAO, agriculture, FSRP, we've created 4,800 jobs. And that is to say, you have young people, they've prepared their land, give them seed, give them fertilizer, and they pay them on a monthly basis. And just for us to confirm, it's not just figures. Myself and the lead of the FAO being going to the field to ensure that we do head count, we validate, and to ensure that we get it right. And just on agriculture, and we also have a program at the ministry, National Youth Commission, that has to do with getting 4,000 jobs. We are on the advert. That would be like pay for work program where you can train young people, and it's a World Bank project that has to do with about $40 million. And I'll be unleashing 400 KKs to support transportation within the capital city as a pilot. What I intend doing is to reduce the rate at which bike riders are coming into CBD. Just after the KK, by next year, we're thinking of getting small vehicles, maybe 400 or 500, just to reduce transportation. And also the youth in fishery, we decided to scale up to ensure that we started with 70 boats, and out of the 70 boats, we got a revolving fund that gives us the platform for us to get another 50 boats. And access to finance is one area that is there's a gray area. I'm also pleased to inform that the Bank of Sierra Leone has launched a pilot of $1 million. And as I speak, we also have a whole lot that is going on. You go today at Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, I got that there's a women loan that's a single digits, because we realized that we should make money funds are accessible for the majority of the country. So a lot has been going on. A lot has been going on, and by the 500,000 jobs His Excellency said, we're going to hit. It's not that much. It's not that much. 500,000, looking at the amount of population that we have and the amount of young people that are involved today, is something that this government will hit, and it's deliberate that we said that.
Orman, your ministry has a mandate to ensure you develop skills, knowledge, and the ability of young people to make better transition into adulthood. What sort of models will the ministry introduce to ensure same is actualized?
And one thing I always tell Sierra Leoneans is that most of the things, the challenges that we are going through today, has to do with societal issue. You agree with me, Samuel, that we have 11 years break. And that transition, 11 years, like you've been shut down for 11 years. You have minors that participated during the war. You have minors that participated in a whole lot for that 11 years. And today, add 11 years, add 20 years, so those minors that are 11 years, 10, 13, 14, down the line, they still form within the bracket of young people, youth, to be specific. So what we are saying as a nation, we have to be focusing on positive energy. I mean, handling our energy towards negative things is not helping society at all. And I always say that the biggest challenge we have in Sierra Leone, it's not about resources. It's not about availability of opportunities. It's about how do we recalibrate our mindset to be positive. And mindset change is one thing I'm really pushing for. And I'm pushing it at a community level, as a societal issue, as a societal area, that let everybody take responsibility of his or her own destiny. You can't continue blaming government. You can't continue blaming your parents. But I'll tell you what, there are lots of opportunities in Sierra Leone. Say, for instance, this is the only government ever since for the past 6 years. You check along this sub-region, there's never been a month workers, staff do not get their salaries. So looking at what is happening, the shock that is happening across the globe.
But that's part of the responsibility of the government.
Yes, but other countries are going through challenges. Other countries are going through challenges. You might not know what Guinea, Liberia, Ghana, Kenya, what they're going through. So among all the shock, at the midst of all these challenges, yes, government is owning up to his own responsibility. So we are asking that we take responsibility. When we talk about governance, we also have to focus on how do we govern our homes? How do we raise our kids? How do we ensure that we train our young people to be role models in society. And how many role models we have today in our communities? You can see how many single parents that we have, how many young people that will say it because I lost hope, I decided to do X, Y, Z, and that's not helping. So let's see as a society, like you can't stay in a community, you think that you're safe, everybody else, everything around you is safe. When you have 1 or 2 young people that you know very well, you can mentor, you can transform their mindset to be positive, you know. So we are looking at the aspect of changing that mindset, changing young people, trying young people to be very progressive in the way they think and the way they do things. I know we're doing that. And it all boils down to the leadership.
We'll talk on skills capacity building.
Yes.
But again, taking into account the number of young people we have in Sierra Leone, the statistics year in, year out has shown that youth constitutes majority of the number of people within.
Yeah, is it the 70% job? So
that's
the issue.
But again,
David Senge was saying, since Adam was a boy, they said this 70% of young Sierra Leoneans are not employed. But again,
what sort of vehicles do we expect to see from the ministry to see the need, for this percentage that they've been talking about to drive national development, and growth inside you?
It's like I said, it's all when you talk about skills, there's a Ministry of Higher and Technical Education that is really doing well in terms of skills empowerment. I remember there was a World Bank skills program that myself and one of your former presenters witnessed at these areas, and it's doing well. So when you talk about how do we drive towards that direction, I think it's all about leadership. Some of you can agree with me that the ministry I took over, you know very well, it's full of mediocrity. Today you go to my ministry, there is nobody you can see standing around asking for X, Y. No, go do your own thing. Go empower, go find something to do. And we've been celebrating mediocrity over excellence. These are the things we try to change as a government, asking young people to take responsibility. Go look for opportunities. Opportunities are there. I'm a self-made. Like I'll never tell you that somebody else, my parent, my dad, my mom, took care of me. But I went through all the orders to ensure that, and if you don't prepare yourself for the unforeseen opportunity, when the opportunity knocked at the door, then they'll ask, what is it about? What is it be doing? So we are asking that, we take ownership.
Let's talk a bit on the youth policy. How best does it speak to issues of responsible citizenry? Have you been able to achieve same?
Yes, it's as a result of that, His Excellency the President established a whole ministry, a Ministry of Civic Education. I'll tell you, I've served for 6 years. The biggest challenge I face, it's about resources, I repeat, it's about young people taking responsibility. For instance, we had a Sumbuya project where we train young people to drive heavy equipment, tractors, and I'll tell you, 99% of those young people that we train got job. But for you to take them from Freetown, from these strategic areas, you send them to Sumbuya for them to do this training for 3 months, it will surprise you to know that you have to pay them. Even when you're training them for free, you have to pay them. You go to Wilberforce Barracks today, you will see over 100 young girls doing doing skills training through the military for male-dominated areas. And even when you're sending them to do those training, I ask that we need to pay them. You need to give them the stipend, motivate them to say, look, now you'll be living for today. Today for today is somebody that goes out, just gets your daily bread, and you survive for it today. And let's see how we can give them stipend that will enhance them, think like, oh, let me go through this, after this, there's a brighter future. Go to the extractive industries. Up to date, we'll still have foreigners coming to take jobs that we can do here. But they'll ask you, a few days ago again, a set of young people just graduated in masoning, block laying at the Miltimagai Technical College here. And I'll tell you, the essence of doing that, you have young people that are trained in doing these skills, but they do not have certificates. So we want to see how we can bring them into these short courses in universities, in tech voc, and they get the certificates. It makes it easy for employers to see reason why they should employ them.
You keep insisting that resources aren't a challenge, but that's not what many young people would agree to. Because for some of these young people, it's actually access to the resources to get them standing independently. That is a challenge for them. there has been training sessions going on, whether from government agencies or private sector, people with organizations as well. That access to many of them to utilize the skills now they have into probably a business is a challenge. How do you match the needs of many different youths we have in the country, since you say access to the resources aren't the problem?
Yes, let me take you back to the university, the curriculum that we have today in university. Phoebe, you agree with me that you have a lot of young people doing agriculture, studying aquaculture, studying engineering, but you spend 4 years in university without, you plant on the board, harvest on the board, weed on the board. That's not the agriculture we are talking about. When we talk about moving Sierra Leone to a middle class, to a skills-dominated country, is that let's do the German way. That if you are doing agriculture, you study agriculture, do 2 years in the classroom, go 2 years in the farm. So by so doing, once you graduate from university, you have a job already. So when we talk about skills, when we talk about opportunities, we want to see how young people, and let me tell you, one of the biggest challenge, one of the toughest moments for everybody is at the age of being an adolescent. It's that transformation from that point you think that I'm a young man to that thinking that I can take responsibility. It's the same point that you take your Beke exams. And during that Beke exams, you have to decide, I want to go do art, I want to do engineering, I want to go do medicine, I want to go do plumbing, I want to do things that society really need. But if you decide to go do otherwise, then it's a challenge. So when we are talking about mentorship, career guidance, yeah, it's key. If you want to be an entrepreneur, I'll tell you today, go to Sierra Leone Commercial Bank. We've done a lot. Just year before last, we gave over $2 million grants.
So these are the things that also bring about question marks to some of these interventions.
Yeah.
We hear the figures, but what we hardly get to see or hear are the success stories of people you could put forward to say, this is Mr. X who benefited from this project, who benefited from this grant with this amount and started this business. The success stories are in scarcity.
So, So what I agree to some extent, but when you follow, like UNDP page, I mean, the new country rep went on the field and visited some of these platforms. I'll tell you, there are a lot of success stories. I remember there is somebody in McKinney by the name of Big Things. He has over 30 young people being employed. That young man got like $30,000. If you visit McKinney, he has a poultry. He has young, amazing young people that are doing well. You go to, there's a whole lot. There's a whole lot. I know, yes, we need to do more. I agree. But I'll tell you, that's why this year, in the next couple of days, I'll be going to the field, spending 1 week to capture those moments and report to Sierra Leoneans that the reason why His Excellency is re-voted for, it's as a result of the impact that we're making in those societies.
Some of the bureaucracies we have in country as well limit some young people from maximizing the profits of their businesses. Not too long ago, we had a gentleman who was formerly a DJ, DJ Dabo, who is now into carpentry. And he said one of his greatest challenges, he's applied for a license to be able to export some of his furniture. That, as a country, he has not been able to receive. So now he does business through Guinea. That is one young person creating employment.
I'm also going through that though.
Creating employment in his sector. All he needs to scale is the license, which has not been given to him.
I'm not too au fait with license that has to do with exportation of timber or furniture.
Where does your work stop is where I was going to put the question to that. Where does your work stop when young people find themselves in such situations? Because everybody's problem is not the same.
That's it.
People have different problems. But for some of these young people who have had a structure, who are just challenged with other sectors in the country, where does your work stop with that?
So, Fabian, it's about accessibility of leadership. And you agree with me, I'm one of the most accessible. It's a news to me that you're saying this. I'll ask that young man to come to the office. I mean, there's procedures. I see little or no reason when you're qualified to do X. What we are saying, I'm one person that is pushing. If you go to my office, 100% of what I have in my office is made in Sierra Leone. The wood that we have in Sierra Leone, you can't. Sometimes I'm so surprised seeing people furnishing their office using export products. You talk about walnuts. like Samsi at, is it, I'm not, Samsi at Tembeton,
Yeah.
top notch. Like, it's a wood that you can, it's 200 years. And he has been working for me since 2010. And to date, there are beds that I bought from Samsi. Up to date, they can pass test for anything. So what we are saying, if you're out of quality, you know exactly. What's I like made mention of the young man. Let him come to the office. Let's see how we can help. My scope of work has to do with ensuring that every young Sierra Leonean reach his or her own potential. Ensuring that we're creating an enabling environment for every young Sierra Leonean. Ensuring that young people reach their potential, devoid of region, devoid of tribe, devoid of where you're coming from, because His Excellency the President gave me an opportunity to serve. He knows nobody behind me. Son of a widow from Maboka, he said, can't serve. And today I'm the only minister that he has not charged. I'm the only minister that he has not moved from one point to another. It's not because he knows my parents. I'll tell you, the entire SFPP, nobody knows my parents. So what we are saying, he gave me the opportunity to serve. I'm pushing to ensure that every Sierra Leonean, in as much as His Excellency asked me to go serve Sierra Leoneans, so every Sierra Leonean will ensure that they reach their potential.
Orman, you seem to be enjoying stability in the ministry, and again, you seem very confident, in hammering home your points. But do you think, in your estimation, do you think you are halfway to addressing the barrage of challenges youth face right across the country?
Halfway, you're talking about 50%. Yeah, I'll tell you, we are not where we want to be. Yeah, but I'll tell you again, we are not where we used to be a couple of years back. We are when you talk about progress, when you talk about development, when you talk about, I told you the shock, that 11-year shock, there will be a whole generation of leaders that has to sacrifice to ensure that we clean that. In those days, when you talk about Sierra Leone, they'll say, oh, blood diamond, oh, the war. And today, as of today, when you talk about Sierra Leone, they say, oh, they are the ones sharing the Security Council. Oh, that country that is chairing Security Council. That country that is doing amazing on education. That country that has to do with radical inclusion. That country that has to do with policies that are very progressive. So these are the images that we are trying to change. So I know we are not there, yeah, but I'll tell you, progressively, we are not where we used to be a couple of years ago.
Orman,
it's work in progress.
Orman, the Youth in Fishing project is one that used to get a lot of eyeballs in terms of procurement anomalies. And it's one amongst the projects that you just mentioned that the ministry still seem very appreciative of.
Yeah, I think the missing elements about the procurement you're talking about, the actual procurements for the net, the procurement process we sent out was for 20 bundle or so, yeah? But the actual need for the nets, for those fishing boats, should be like 60. But it's not like the amount that we procure is less, it's the actual amount of money that we receive that we did procurement for. But when we go to the field to do the handing over, we realize that it's supposed to be 60 bundles. That doesn't mean we receive 60 bundles funds from government. The challenge you think about, that would have been something you pick on the audit reports. But because we didn't do anything dubious, there is nothing about procurement in the sector that has challenges, but because, that was the first project we started. And you realize that when we do the advert, we said 20 nets per boat. But when we go to the field, after doing, when we go to the field to do the handing over notes, we realize that it should be 60. And that's why we gave the young people to say, okay, you can work for a couple of months to ensure that you buy the net for yourself. And I told you, out of that 80, out of the 70 boat that we bought, we were able to recoup and buy the 50 that we have now. And again, there's a project we are piloting at the Ministry, the Youth in Commercial Transportation. The reason why I'm telling about this keke, it's even the banks will not tell you they have 80% or 90% loan recovery. Some young people are serious in this country. It's just about creating an enabling environment for them and try as best as possible not to bring politics in selection of beneficiaries. And that's one thing I've been enjoying. See, like when we went to Youth Connect Africa in Kenya a couple of months ago, and I'm so pleased to see young Sierra Leonean engaging AUNA, the UNDP like global rep, engaging them. And the one said, I'm pleased with the Sierra Leone delegation. The young people in Sierra Leone are really smart because when you select the best, and that's one thing nobody has ever questioned, that oh, you have this set of young people. When it comes to selection of beneficiaries, especially for most things, I ensure that they know who doesn't work, they know how is the one that will take charge.
On several occasions, we've had your boss, the first gentleman, commending you in public as to what you're doing in regards to the fish farming projects that you are implementing across various areas. Of course, I'm a testament to those interventions because I've been to most of the sites where you're working. Just during the town hall meeting, you also echoed same as to the people who are making moves in terms of the fish projects. The public could be like, this man is doing extremely well in fish projects, more so when he's getting commendation from the president. Why can't we see a situation wherein this man will be shifted from the youth ministry to that of the fisheries ministry?
Samuel, no, Samuel. So I'm okay with my job.
Okay.
As it pleases His Excellency to give me opportunity, I like my job. Making the impact that I'm making in the youth sector, I mean, I'm okay with it. But it pleases His Excellency for me to serve as a Minister of Youth. But again, he said he's currently training apprentices. There's no way you can have a good apprentice if you don't have a good driver. Everything about success, about aquaculture, back from him. He's somebody that wants delivery. He's somebody that wants results. He's somebody that will say, spare me the pain, give me the baby. He's somebody that do not want excuses. You can't go to the president and say, oh, I want to see this, I want to see this. And for you to impress him, he has one word he has one thing he always say, you have a proven concept. That is to say, I've seen it, I feel it, I'm convinced. That's the kind of president we have. And him being the driver and us being the apprentice, you can't have a better apprentice, a good apprentice if the driver is not really excellent. And I'll send that to him again. And it's because of his leadership. And it's because of his support. It's because of him creating an enabling environment for son of a widow to serve as a minister. It's as a result of me traveling to Ghana, see what Ghanaians are doing, and then come back to Sierra Leone, no, these are things I can do very well. Why can't I just put things together to ensure that we get it right? So we're doing well in that sector, and it also boils down to the family that I have. I have one of the best wives in Sierra Leone. She's the one, the architect that move at the back end, economists, the economic. She's the one that fixes everything. So I send that to her and appreciate the family that I have.
Your constituents, the young people,
including you, Fabian.
Yes, correct. A lot of them are affected by Kush. Before it became this serious, the perception was, well, it's only affecting the ghetto boys. But we've seen gainfully employed young, responsible people who became victims of Kush, who lost not only their jobs, some have lost their accommodation. And it's sad because unlike the other drugs in country that young people abuse, Kush kills them very fast. Every week there would be a report of a corpse somewhere. What are you doing that these young people you work so hard to create opportunities for are now dealing with a very serious problem called Kush?
Yeah. As a government, you had His Excellency declaring a state of emergency on drugs and substance abuse, and there's a whole structure being formed and to ensure that we combat this nemesis in our society. And as a government, we've done a lot, and we realized that a couple of months ago, the kind of shock that we have on this drugs and substance abuse was really high, and today it's progressive. I mean, it's unfortunate. I saw a video on TikTok last night that has to do with Waterloo graveyards being hit, about 15 of them, and we've done a lot. And like I say, we always succeed in fighting drugs and substance abuse when we take the fight to our community, when we take ownership of the fight. I mean, the Ministry of Social Welfare, today you have a rehab. Just a couple of days ago, you see a number of them being taken out of the rehab. I had a story about the one woman that says his son was in UK and she has tried a lot to ensure that that guy stay away from drugs, and it's only during that rehab they succeeded doing that. So the issue of drugs and substance abuse, Fabian, it has to do with, we have to fight it as a society. We have to ensure that, because there are so many things in our surrounding that young people can convert today to drugs. So it has to do with how do we monitor You don't have government officers in every home. It will surprise you to know that somebody will call you at 2 a.m., Minister, me picking they take kush. I say, even the way of counseling that individual to say, look, yes, take it easy, but let's ensure that we...
Between law enforcers and the kush cartel, the whole cartel, from the manufacturers of the kush itself to those who sell, who is winning in this fight? Who's ahead?
The law enforcing agencies are winning. Yeah, and the strategy of this government...
The evidence suggests otherwise.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I beg to differ. I mean, you've seen a lot of arrests being done at the ports. You've seen a lot of arrests being done at community level. What we are doing as a government...
Many of those arrests, Orman, it's more so middleman level, basically those who sell it. Top level arrests,
yes,
we are yet to hear or see many of those.
So this country is a law
and it's becoming more and more lucrative for them because now the price has increased.
Yeah, the price only increased as a result of the shot.
But it's giving them more money.
Drugs, fights against drugs everywhere in the world, it's a high-end cartel. For instance, even if we're trying to do a lot in Sierra Leone, but you have over 2,000 border crossing points from Liberia to Guinea. You have over 2,000 border crossing points from Guinea to Liberia. So within that area, what we are saying, we are going after the wholesalers, the manufacturers, the importers. And in that area, Phoebe, and I'll tell you, even if you want to import the substance, like you can produce drugs or kush in this country, you know the price you pay. You know it's an high end that 10 chances to 1 you'll be caught.
For the borders,
yes.
It's Liberia. Well, Sierra Leone is not accusing Liberia of importing kush into our country. It's the contrary. Liberia is accusing Sierra Leone now of importing kush into their country, with series of arrests made at that border of Sierra Leoneans attempting to cross into their country with kush. But it still leaves us with, what agencies are you working with and what strategies are you putting in place? Because not only that these young people who are victims are dying, but also in the area of reputation now, young people who do business, requiring movement between Sierra Leone to Liberia, and this is just one example, there could be others, would find it more and more difficult now to do that because there's a stain on our reputation.
Yeah, I think I don't have facts of what you're saying as of now. I mean, I've not seen that, but I know.
It was on the news.
Well, like I said, it's not I've not got that yet, but I know the security agencies, the police are doing extremely well. Extremely well. Phoebe, like I said, the police that we have to police our communities.
Now, my question directly to you as it relates is, what agencies are you working with and what's the strategy to help these young people?
We are working with the police, we are working with anti-drug, and we are working with the youth council to ensure that they send out the messages in these communities to ensure that don't take drug, no matter how tough, no matter what you're going through, get yourself prepared. I mean, talk to community, have town hall meetings, have these meetings, those community level. I believe in community ownership. I believe in community sensitization. And why is the police, even if you have your drugs, if young people themselves say, no, I've got the consciousness, I've realized that this is a no-go area, then you can have a business, then it's all by yourself. But what we are pushing, the young people that we are defending, now we are using the community approach, the youth council, the chief of youth leaders, the district youth leaders. And I'll tell you, most of these cartels, they've knocked down a lot of them. And the communities are really doing well in giving the police information. And we're doing well in that direction. And the wave, you can agree with me, the wave we have 5-6 months ago, as compared to now, it's not that heavy as compared to 6 months ago.
But the prevalence is still there when you go to the provincial areas?
Yes, drugs all over, We're talking about high-end cartel. Even in America, that's why most times when I travel with the Bike Riders Union, travel with these young people, go see what is happening. It's just that we are selling, like I said, the negative energy. When you go to New York, you see thousands of young people, thousands of them lying on the floors that has to do with drugs and substance abuse. I was with the Youth Council president and the Bike Riders Union president in UK a couple of months ago. Yes, we went to this store and the snatchers, few young people just bump into the store and they grab everything, like nobody could arrest them. And they call the police, the youth council guys were asking, but oh man, how police, they might just can't thief and go. I said, you're not UK, you understand? And they realize, take them to places, they see what is happening, the amount of street people they have. But the BBC and their agents, media houses are not selling that stories. And again, we also have a role as a media to ensure that we carry stories of success stories about drugs and substance abuse, like these young people that are graduating from the rehab centers. We sell those stories that, look, this is the area where the government took them. And now look at them today, they become productive Sierra Leoneans. And those stories are good so that those that are in it will see themselves like, we have a chance, we have a second chance in life to change our stories.
And they're coming back to society to get themselves back with the drugs, get themselves friendly back to the drugs.
No, once you wash down, the biggest challenge about drugs and substance abuse is the calm down. When we talk about calm down, when you're in it, you think like I can't do without it. Until you have a very heavy shock that within the couple of 2, 3, 4, 5 days that you have to wash down with a whole lot of things, thinking and without accessing it, that's the shock young people, most people are facing it. And like you said, it's not about job. It's not about young people that don't have opportunity. You have young people today, lawyers, doctors. It's a societal issue. That's why we're pushing it as a societal level to ensure that we combat these names that we have in our society.
Oh man, the youth in car wash projects, how successful?
This second time, I didn't talk about car wash though.
How successful is that project?
It is. So the general thinking about the car wash was, yeah.
It seemed not, one amongst the few car wash that you see doing big things is still that one around stadium.
Bossart.
Yeah, Bossart.
Yeah.
Most of the others, the equipment, you see the equipment and nowhere, they're nowhere to write them about, so to speak, oh man.
Yeah, so let's get the general thinking behind the car wash.
Okay.
The general thinking behind the car wash is to have a hold-up center for young people that society has no place for. Say, for instance, for Abbey College, Phoebe, in those days when you're going to Abbey College, you see those boys at the hills. But today, when you go to Abbey College at night, you see over 400 kekes, bikes, parked in that car wash. You see young people like, those young people living along the hills have a place to park their bike, their kekes. You understand? And you have, the general thinking was that to have these young people, get them in a place that they can access, that give them ways that they can recalibrate and just saying that government has recognized what you're going through. And we're making impacts in that direction. I don't know the impacts you're talking about. There are so many impacts you're talking about. Imagine these guys do not have a recognized place before. And now they have a place. People have trust and confidence in taking their vehicles, their kekes, to wash, and sometimes they spend the rest of the night in those places. So these are some of the things. It's not like a thing, area that, oh, making money. The impact is in our society. I pass through Abbey College every night. You see over 100, 200 bikes. Tell me, if that car wash was not at Abbey College at this time, during these rains, where will you think those people will park their bikes? Where do you think those people will park their kekes? Where do you think those guys washing cars under the bridge, when it rains, where do you think they want to take shelter? So, in as much as I agree there are some negative challenges, but the positive outweigh that of the negative for the purpose of the car wash.
One of the sectors that has a potential of creating mass employment for young people with limited barriers to entry is the creative industry. What are the opportunities available you're providing through your ministry and perhaps collaboration with even maybe Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs?
Yeah. So thanks. I mean, it's like you're in the clinic meeting organized a couple of days ago by the Chief Minister. See, these are the areas that comes out clearly. It's under the Ministry of Tourism now to create and support creative industry, entertainment industry. It's stand out clearly, yeah. And as much as every young person, like I said, that is within the age bracket 15 to 35, we ensure that we create the enabling environment for them. But the Ministry of Tourism has been given the mandate, in their new mandate now, to ensure that they create a kind of platform for them. I think the missing link at that time was that I want to do more. And the Ministry of Tourism thinks they own it. And as a government, yes, and there are ambassadors, and we have peace ambassadors, we have Caldinero, we have LAJ, we have young people doing? Say, for instance, when you go today, you go to UNDP office, you see a lot of artists work in those walls. And UNDP has been supporting a lot through the ministry and to one of the artists, one of the creative ladies. She's currently in New York doing something extraordinary. So these are the young people that most times we expose to our community and ensure that, and to the international world. Imagine 6 years, every year we go Youth Connects Africa, we attend international conference. Those young people, Phoebe, I bet you with my life, there's never a time you have young entrepreneurs, young innovators, young people traveling out of the country to represent Sierra Leone. And they're representing us well. You have amazing ideas in Sierra Leone. See the award, the Tech Summit. His Excellency Award given to these young people, $30,000. And there's never been a tech summit that you bring all innovators. Even Mr. Seven System, the Bobo and Bogam, like, you can see amazing job being done in this community, but there's never been a platform where these young people can be recognized. So these are all the things that we are doing to ensure that we pick these innovators, these creative young people. And again, we have a call from Youth Connect that we should expression of interest for about 10 to 15 young people to express interest for the 2025 competition. And Youth Connect, through Youth Connect, they will be supported through Youth Connect to ensure that they give them 1 year, they give them a 1 year work plan, and Youth Connect will be supporting them through UNDP and the government of Sierra Leone.
Orman, we've had a couple of messages, and we'll take just a few and see the need to respond. Usman Prince Suleiman Kavoni says, how are we benefiting from these programs by directing the finished goods into the market of Sierra Leone?
Albert Lansana says, we need mentors who can mentor and inspire those young men, young youths, very good mentors who those young youths can imitate or inspire. Retired military personnel, law enforcement personnel, correctional personnel, to name but a few, can form such mentor programs to mentor young people.
Osfren Kamal says, Mr. Minister, have you thought of checking to know the cost of rehabilitating the Magbas Sugar Complex at Maburka, looking at it from a cost-benefit perspective?
Ike Dalton says, we're always quick to compare Saloon with the West on negative things when they have good network and safety nets to help their communities and citizens. But that can't be said about Saloon. Again, can we compare their economic successes as to that of ours? Never.
Angel Nigel says, the youth minister's articulation of youth issues on TV shows his deep understanding and commitment to making a positive change. Well done.
Cherno Muhammadu says, Mr. Minister, what are the preventive measures your ministry has put in place in order to combat these deadly drugs called Kush?
Mohamed Branyale says, the problem I have with people is the fact that they keep comparing our country to others, but when it comes to success, they don't. They dare not. All you could hear them saying is, we are poor. The UK, Orman made mention of what is their unemployment rate compared to Sierra Leone.
Before we left off, we read out some of the messages on our Facebook platform. Could you please respond to them?
Yes, once again, let me take this opportunity to thank all Texas and viewers. There are a few texts that I'll go through. Somebody made mention of the network, code network. Phoebe, and that we are not comparing the positive. We always compare negative. I'll say that's not true, because most times there's this saying in our local language, they say, Pikeno, they travel, if you say, my mama sabi cook. Pas you travel, you go see other people and cook, they go no say yes. Not your mama no sabi cook. It's in that vein that most times we ensure that we take young people out of this country to go see what is happening in other parts of the world. And I'll tell you what, most times when they come back, they say, no, we are doing well here. It's just that we don't want to comprehend, we don't want to own up our own responsibility, And I'll tell you, Sierra Leone is one of the few areas. Imagine the rain that is coming to date in Freetown. If the same rain falls in Accra, Accra will be like an entire sea. So we have all of these things. So when we talk about opportunity, why do we compare Sierra Leone to other areas? Because most times people say, Kenya, Rwanda, you don't compare Sierra Leone to Rwanda. In terms of human rights, in terms of other areas, you don't compare Sierra Leone to Rwanda. Kenya, you don't compare Sierra Leone to Kenya. You know, what we are saying, let's make use of what we have at the moment. And I always say this, it doesn't matter where you find yourself. It doesn't matter where you sit at the moment. Just ensure that you take yourself as the king of wherever you find yourself at any particular point in time, and ensure that you do your best. Even if the whole world, nobody's watching you. If Orman could make it, a son of a widow, Yambala Nkono from Aboka to a cabinet minister, I'm fulfilled. My wish now is to become the biggest fish farmer in Africa. So no matter what, there are a lot of opportunities. We have a lot of good Samaritans in Sierra Leone. So what we are saying as young Sierra Leoneans, somebody make mention of the area of mentorship, career guidance. How much are we doing in our communities to ensure that young people themselves have people to watch and admire? And these are areas that we're missing again. You know, in those days, we have people in our community, oh, like my son telling me he wants to be a firefighter, firefighter, yes. You want to fire force police? I say, yes, that's what he wants. You know, so what we are saying, let's allow young people, let's guide our young people. Okay, you want to do art, you want to do science, you want to do commerce. Let's have somebody there that will explain to them what is it that is here. They should not just be carried away by the inferior, by peer group influence. And you know, that stage I was talking about, the stage of adolescence, is that stage young man, they feel, say, like, I don't big. You see that bush double. The same stage they see woman, they feel, say, yes, the first time you see menstrual period. And sexual reproductive health education and information. I'll tell you, it's one way we can fight poverty. Picking on the born picking. Until we talk about sex, you talk about when young people, they get safe sex, it's also a concern to me that picking on the born picking, when poor person born poor, they become poor poor. Let's ensure that we have planned bad, we have all these things being planned. You go to communities today, gender-based violence is still in our communities. How do we combat those ones? How do we talk to our kids about sex, when to have safe sex, and when to say yes, when not to say no? Thanks to the, our First Lady, she's pushing so hard to ensure that every young Sierra Leone, especially female youth, reach their potential. Sanitary pad. In those days, nobody knows talk about sex now, TV. But President, they tell you, say, we got progressive policies, progressive laws, where they ensure, say, we create that kind of environments. So when you talk about comparison, today, people don't compare Sierra Leone, they compare Sierra Leone to other big nations then, on the progressive laws then, what we don't make. The hands of our girls, where the First Lady, they champion. We all equal, launch where the First Lady do of late. And the passion where the leadership gets, I don't know what all the time for push for. Somebody make mention about the network. Bossman, you compare the road network from Freetown to Liberia border, and compare Liberia border to Monrovia. We're far better than them. With the move, like I said, we not there, we not reach you one go yet, but not to say been there. And when we say not to say been there, progressively we make gains. Progressively, when we compare ourselves to UK never ever face war. If they face war, that was back in those days, and then get a generation where they said, say, no, don't forget about politics. Do you know the amount of money we did lost as a country, as a nation, when somebody sit overseas, or a particular political party say, no, let nobody not go on the street? When the shop then lock, when Freetown don't operate, the revenue they generate, where that one they shut down, and but yet with all the shocks in there, yet government they pay the salaries. Government, they just say we meet with basic needs, but we still know the day yet, like I say. But we know day we will be there today, now work in progress, and not to say I've been there.
Someone asked about Magbas.
Magbas. Yes, Magbas, there was a document that came to cabinet for Magbas. People expressed interest, but you know, as a responsible government, as a responsible leader, the Minister of Agriculture brought that paper, and they did do due diligence, and we realized that no, and the ministry and the factory itself is not operational, but I'll tell you, that entire body land has been engaged by farmers, and government has supported a whole lot. Go to that body land, that entire body land today, and rest they don't plant it go. So Magbas in progress. It's not like Magbas, as in Magbas, the factory for produce sugarcane, but the entire land now working now place we don't engage with rice farming. And they do well. The shock what we get this year on terms of production of rice, in terms of production of onions, in terms of production of poultry products, in terms of production of eggs, chicken, onions, a whole lot. There's the beauty way with things that actually give me hope of late is the mindset of a lot of young people for moving to agriculture, and the current and the future of this country, a day down the bush.
Orman, what's the statistics of females within the youth ministry currently?
The statistics
Yeah,
as staff?
in terms of how well as
Is it in terms of empowerment, empowering female youth?
Yeah.
Oh, we are doing well in that direction. Like I said, if you go to the police, the military barracks now at Wilberforce, there's a whole bunch of 100% female youth-led female being trained in male-dominated area, and we're giving them stipend on a monthly basis with support from our darling UNDP and other partners. We are doing well. I'm a he for she.
How about the officials in your office?
Yes, we are above the 30% average. Okay. We're above that, yes.
All right, thank you very much for joining us this morning in the program. We've been speaking with the Minister of Youth Affairs, Mohamed Orman Bangura.